Hello and welcome to the Dusk Vigil. Eat some food, turn on tank stance, and let's go. One of the earlier dungeons, we are only in our early 50s when we hit here, so this is a really fast one. I think you can finish this in less than 15 minutes. They've made some changes to it, so this is actually my first time going through this dungeon since they made some changes, and we'll just talk about it as we go through it. So on the first pull, it's just a little pack of 3. You're going to use an AoE attack to pick up those 3 mobs. And then you're going to go right here to this dude. Now, previously, this was the wall, which is why I got a little bit confused here. But they opened it, because you used to have to kill that big wolf thing. But now it's open, and you can just keep going. And I'm like, should we keep going? Yes, we should. So that's why the delay and the hesitation there. But as you round that corner, there will be the next pack of 3, which you'll pick up right there, again, with an AoE attack. And then finally, we will get to the wall where there will be another big wolf thingy, whatever it is, Stronghold Mylodon. Yeah, once it comes down, you're going to pick up aggro on it. And at this point, I would recommend using all of your cooldowns because you do have a ton of stuff on you. You can see my health throughout this entire dungeon is actually quite low. But I would use Reprisal and Rampart here, and also whatever other class ability you may have unlocked at this point. Because this is the biggest pull before the first boss, so you might as well use it. The other Mylodon comes down, just go ahead and click on him, use a ranged attack to pick up aggro, and burn him on down. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. This is the final pull before the first boss. Again, a small pack of 3. Just use an AoE attack to pick up aggro on all 3 and burn him on down. Once the Mylodon comes down just like he did before, go ahead and click on him, pick up aggro, and tank and spank him on down. Nothing else to it. And once he dies, he's going to drop this cold steel lever. Go ahead and right-click on that to pick up the lever, and then bring it over to the damaged winch. Right-click on the winch and use the lever there to open the door to the first boss, which is the Towering Oliphant. Not a difficult boss to tank for. All you do is pick up aggro, turn him to the corner, and that's it. You're just going to do your single target rotation. He has a couple of abilities that don't impact you as the tank, so we're not going to go over them. For that AoE dodge, I don't even dodge it. I'm sorry for the AoE. I don't dodge that. I just eat it because I don't want to turn this thing around at all. It doesn't deal that much damage. It's like 1800 damage and you're fine. So just keep him turned here and burn him on down. There's nothing else that you have to do here as the tank. That is not the case with the second boss, though. We'll talk about that once we get there. So real quick, at this point, I have not recommended using any cooldowns, and don't use them. With the boss coming down, you want to save your cooldowns for the next pull because it is quite large. So do not use Reprisal, do not use Rampart or any class abilities. Hold them for this next pull that is coming up because it's a doozy. So to start this big pull, we're going to grab aggro on these 2 dudes here. We are then going to use a ranged attack on the Fading Soul and continue on down this corridor. Now we're just going to go straight. We don't have to go through any of these rooms on the side. And while these mobs are spawning, I'm not sure if you guys have figured this out yet or not, but this is kind of like Castle Black from Game of Thrones. There's a lot of Game of Thrones related stuff in this game, and this is basically Castle Black. Anyway, all these dudes are going to spawn, and you're just going to use all of your AoE abilities to pick up aggro on all of them. They have very low health, so they go down pretty quick. And at this point, you want to go ahead and use all of those cooldowns that you saved from the first boss, because there's a lot of stuff that is wailing on you here. And just keep on using your AoE attacks, and you should be able to kill everything. Also, keep your finger over your oh shit button, because things can get a little hairy here. And if you need to stop that damage from coming in. So keep an eye on your health, keep your finger over that oh shit button, and use it just in case. This is the place to use it, is here or possibly on the next pull if you need to. Well, with everything dead, you can now kill the archer as well, who I guess I could have pulled those mobs closer together, but only adds a few seconds to the dungeon. You can pick up the barracks key, just like you picked up the cold steel lever earlier, and then open the door. And once you open the door, you're going to be greeted by a couple of more mobs. Use an AoE attack to pick up aggro on them, and then go over to the Lord Commander's seat. Lord Commander. all the mobs that are going to spawn here are just going to run straight to you. So you don't have to target anything. Just use your AoE attack to pick up aggro on everything. Any abilities that you have, use them to reduce damage. And as you can see, my health is getting very, very low here. I'm keeping a really close eye on that. And right there, it got a little bit too low, slammed on that oh shit button, and we are able to continue going. But this is only the first wave of officers that come at you. The next wave is going to they spawn, and they're going to come straight to you. You don't have to do anything. Just use your AoE attack. That's it. As you can see, they die very quickly, and once the last one dies, it will drop the Lord Commander's key. You can right-click on the key and then right-click on the door. I do try to bring my group of newbies over this way because this is the right way to go. We don't need to go to the right. And here we are at the second boss, only 9 minutes into this dungeon, making great time. I do turn around to make sure my team is with me before engaging. This boss is kind of a pain as the tank, because the last boss was really testing the healer, because that elephant does a lot of crazy stuff to other party members. But this boss does a lot of stuff for the tank. He spawns lots of adds, and they are not next to each other, and they will start wailing on your party. So keep an eye out for the adds. Here is the first wave. I'm going to click on one, use a ranged attack, click on the other one, use provoke, and then I'm going to go back onto the boss. And all I'm really doing during this boss fight is spinning the camera around, and that's what you're trying to learn at this level. It's only level 50, it is pretty low, but what you're trying to do is learn to not just stare in one place. As you can see, those two mobs spawned on opposite ends of the room, and they don't fit, like you don't see them all at one point, so you have to move your camera to get aggro on them. The next set of adds has spawned, and now things start to get a little bit hairy because I'm trying to pick up aggro on everything. And if you watch that enemy list, you can see I just lost aggro on 5 guys. So I start to use the enemy list to select mobs and to get aggro on them. And I also use my AoE attack to get aggro back on myself. And then once I have aggro on everything, I try to get back on the boss. If you can find him, great, attack him. If you can't, dodge the AoEs, use your AoE attacks, and keep using your damage reduction abilities because there's a lot of stuff hitting you here. As you can see, that gets busy really fast, but as long as you can keep aggro on everything, then your DPS has the opportunity to just kill the boss. So that's what your job is as the tank on that second one, is just keeping aggro on everything. And now we are done with the second boss. We'll move into the third and final section of Castle Black. For these first 2 mobs, I'm just going to click on one. I'm going to use my, I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to use my AoE attack to pick up aggro on both of them. And then I'm going to take them around this corner here. And I'm going to tank this right by these Hailstorm sprites. Now this part is kind of annoying because the sprites are ranged and that ice trap is ranged and the dinosaur thing is not. It's melee. So you can't really group these up. They don't move. So just burn these 4 down here, and then switch over to the ice trap and kill the ice trap before moving on to the next section. So as you can see here, the door has opened, but the ice trap is not dead. And I am not proceeding to the next area until this thing is dead, because it will continue to follow you and just wail away at you for no reason. It's really annoying. So just kill it before you move on. There is nothing to this next pull. It is 3 Hailstorm sprites that are just going to stand there. Just dive in, use an AoE attack, and burn them down. Once this fight is about over, these little duders, they're going to spawn, and they're going to just run straight to you. They have basically no health, so just use an AoE attack, kill them really quickly, and then move on to the final pull of the dungeon. It starts out with this Dusk Wolf. Just click on him and use a ranged attack to pick up aggro. I'm going to use Sprint here to get to the final area. And again, it's just a 3-pack of the Hailstorm sprites. You should be able to stack everything up here and continue to burn everything down with your AoE attack. And once these 4 mobs are dead, you are at the last boss. Very quick. After you right-click on the chapel door, you will open that, and you will be at the final boss. As always, make sure that before you start the boss fight, you turn around and make sure nobody is watching a cutscene. As you can see here, there was one person that was still watching one for just a few moments. Everybody is in, and now we can click the boss, use our ranged attack, turn him around, and begin our single target rotation. As the tank, there is one mechanic in this fight that you do have to worry about, and that is the whirling goal. I think that's how you pronounce that word. I don't know. All the other ones are not going to really affect you, but you will have to pay attention to the whirling goal. And we'll talk about that once he casts it. So there he goes. He casts the whirling goal, and what you have to do is put these piles of debris between the middle of the battle area and yourself. This way you don't get sucked into the middle. The piles of debris will move. These will fall apart, and then new ones will fall down. So you have to pay attention to where the piles of debris are and try to tank the boss by those big rocks, those big piles of debris. This way, when he casts Whirling Goal, you can basically position the boss behind those debris piles, and then no one gets sucked into the middle and everyone can keep dealing damage to the boss. So he's going to do it one more time, and I will show you what to do. So here he's casting it. I'm standing behind the debris pile. Everyone else is standing behind the other one, and we can all continue DPSing the boss. Just so you can see it, I will not stand behind a debris pile on the last time he casts this in the fight. This way you can see what happens. Also, he's casting Winds of Winter here, which is going to be the next book in Game of Thrones. So here he goes casting Whirling Goal. I am not going to move to a debris pile, and you'll see what happens. You start getting sucked into the center. It's pretty annoying. You can still use some of your abilities, but once you get sucked into the middle, you get thrown up into the air, but that doesn't happen. We just kill him. So that's going to do it for Dusk Vigil. Thanks very much for watching the video. Hope you found it helpful and useful. If you didn't, I'm sorry. I tried my best. Maybe there's something else for you on the channel that you'll enjoy. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Have a good one. See you next time. Bye.